All right, so we're going to look at how to make custom boxes and bags to fit all those different needs that you have in terms of packaging. And you know how you have those odd things that don't come in a package that is easy to wrap. And it turns out that you can make your own boxes and bags to fit those kinds of packages. And you can make something that looks as nice as this to be able to give to your friends and family at Christmas time. And it's not hard, it doesn't take a lot of time. And I'm going to show you now how to figure out what kind of dimensions you need in your paper and then how to go about putting it together. So we'll do that quickly now. So let's say this was a package that you wanted to give to somebody. These are little note cards. You can see it's an awkward package to wrap because it's uneven at the top. So what I need to do is I need to find out the measurements for it. And then I'm going to use this little formula. And this formula I will be posting on the event Facebook page so that you can download it for yourself. But basically, I'm figuring out this is for the bottom of the box, which typically we will use the stronger cardstock for, and then the top of the box, which we will use designer series paper for, not quite as strong as the cardstock, but it's more decorative, and that makes the package look nice. Okay, so for the bottom, we need to find out the length and the width of the bottom of the package. And we don't want to we want to add a little extra so that it's not too tight. So the length here is about 6¼ inches. So let's make it 6½. So we'll write 6½ in here. Okay. And the width is about 3¼ So we'll make that 3½ just to give it some extra room. And how high we want to make it, this is about 3/4 inch, but let's make it about 1½ inches. That'll give us lots of room in there. So the side will make 1½ inches. And here 1½ and 1½. Now for the top, these dimensions are the same, 6½ and 3½, because we want to make the side of the top a little shorter than the bottom so that you can see the bottom through it. So we're just going to make that 1 inch. So that'll be 1 inch. So 1 inch. Okay, so when we add this up, so 1½ is 3, plus 6½ is 9½. 9½ inches. 3 again, plus 3½ is 6½. Okay, 1 inch and 1 inch is 2 inches, plus 6½ is 8½ inches. And 1 inch plus 1 inch is 2, plus 3½ is 5½ inches. Okay, so this tells us the dimensions of paper that we need to cut. 9.5 by 6.5, and 8.5 by 5.5 for the top. Now, the trick here though is that once you've cut your 9.5 by 6 in the bottom, you want to cut off just a little smidge from two adjacent sides, okay? Like you want to cut off a little smidge from this side and a little smidge from this side. And by smidge, probably 1/16 of an inch, all right? And that is from two adjacent sides. And that's so that the top will fit on top of the bottom. Okay, so now our next step of the process is to do the scoring. I'm going to use our Simply Scored tool. You could use your scoring blade on your paper trimmer. We're going to score at 1.5 inches all the way around on the bottom. And it's not fully on the table, so that's why it's a little crooked here. It hasn't got all 4 feet on the table here. Okay, so that's all we need to do. 1.5 inches all the way around. And then for the top, we're going to score it at 1 inch all the way around. I'm going to flip it over to do that scoring. And I'm going to use the larger ball tip on my stylus for designer series paper because it's easy to tear with the smaller tip. So the large tip stylus head does a good job on designer series paper. And I'm scoring this at 1 inch all the way around. Okay, now I'll just move my Simply Scored scoring tool, and it's time to get out my scissors. Okay. So I'll start with the bottom, and I'm going to start by trimming up to the line on the score line, and then I'm going to bevel the outside edge just like that. And then I'm going to turn it 90 degrees, and I'm going to cut up to the score line and bevel the outside. That one could be taken to the corner a little bit better. Okay, now we'll just get rid of those. And now we're going to burnish our folds. And you want to lift that up. So then I'm going to turn it over, and I'm going to apply, I'm going to use the Stamp and Seal Plus because it's a nice strong adhesive, and you want to use a strong adhesive. So when I'm going to put these together, I'm going to want strong adhesive right along the fold there. It's taking a while to get going. And probably some along the top edge. If it overlaps, you can just move it in. Okay, so I'm going to do that along all of them. Okay, so now just making sure that those don't actually touch the paper, I'm going to fold this up and make sure it's perfectly 90 degrees, and then attach them. And then we have our box bottom. We'll do the same process for the top, okay? So we will cut up and then bevel, and cut up, and then we will do all our folding and burnishing with our bone folder. Okay, and then we're going to flip it over and apply our adhesive. These are smaller flaps, so just be careful that you don't go over too much. For those of you that are maybe used to snail, Stamp and Seal and Stamp and Seal Plus are the replacements for snail and Fast Fuse. Okay, so those are all applied. So now we're just going to make sure that that is 90 degrees. Okay, so there is the lid. I'm going to put my gift in there and it fits nicely, as you can see. And it is snug. You can bend the sides a little bit, but then there it fits on there. And then all you need to do is to add ribbon to close it if you want, or you can just add a bow. Will be one of the gifts, one of the prizes for people that put in an order today. So you get the box and the tag and the little treat that's inside it. So you can see it doesn't take a long time, probably not a whole lot longer than wrapping a gift, maybe a bit longer than that, but you don't have an awkward shape to try and deal with, and it's all ready to go.